Hello everybody. Okay, welcome to lesson number 7 on equality of men and women within a family. Let's hide that. That is part of marriage and the family as the topic for EDEXCEL GCSE. Okay, guys, so when we're thinking about the roles of men and women in the family, I'm thinking about now in the year 2020, things have significantly changed for the majority of families within the UK. If you look at the screen in front of you, you have got a family to the left, a family to the right, we've got the past, we've got the present. Now, what's the difference between the two? If you go back to the past, let's maybe go back 60, 70 years, let's go back to the 1950s perhaps. What was it like for the wife, the female? What was her role? And if we think about the husband, what was his role? Now, you may be thinking about the term breadwinner. Now, breadwinner is a term to describe a male role where they will go to work to earn money to support the family. Now, that stereotypically used to be the man and the husband's duty as the breadwinner of the family. And then the woman would stay at home looking after the children. And that's basically because of biological differences between male and female. Of course, you know, men can't give birth, men can't breastfeed. So that would be the reason why they would go to work. And of course, the woman needs to be at home with baby to take care of baby. And that's just how life used to be. Women didn't really go to work, and it was quite shameful if your wife did go to work. I often talk to my partner's grandparents who are in their 80s, and the nan was a hairdresser, and she really wanted to go out and earn money, and granddad really felt bad. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe my wife has to go to work. You know, this is so shameful. I am the husband. I should be providing for her. And that is how it used to be. Now, fast forward to present day 2020, that really is not the case at all. Women want to go to work. It's not seen as maybe like a shameful thing. It's seen as a good thing that women are going to work, having their own money, or being able to kind of equally contribute to the paying of bills, paying for the mortgage. Roles between men and women are now quite shared, quite equal. That's why we've got in this picture here the husband doing the chopping of vegetables, preparing dinner, and you know the lady is on a tablet doing whatever she needs to do. And as well, of course, guys, as we know from the lessons of the family, you know, it's not stereotypically the nuclear family anymore. We've got a lot of single parent families, or a lot of blended families, or same-sex families. There's a lot of different stuff now going on. So we need to be thinking about the roles of men and women. What should they be, and why should they be that? And of course, we're going to be looking at a Christian viewpoint, a different Christian viewpoint, and a non-religious viewpoint. So this comes to our learning milestones. So you need to be able to, as a learning objective, to what extent are men and women equal? So that could be a D question for your evaluation. Now, lessons, you need to give Christian teachings about the equality of men and women in the family. So we're looking at the diverse biblical teachings. And then we're going to explain different Christian views about roles of men and women within the family. Okay, so mind map around these. We've got 3 key questions. Let's go for the pink bubble. What should the wife be responsible for? The blue bubble, what do you think the Bible teaches about male and female roles within the family? And then the grey bubble, what should the husband be responsible for? Stretch and challenge, AO2, would these questions have the same answers as if they were asked 200 years ago? So if you want to quickly pause me, have a little think about it, and write down your answers if need be. Okay, so of course this is a very opinionated and subjective task, and I'll let you crack on with the grey and the pink bubble. But the blue bubble, what do you think the Bible teaches? Now, this is what we're going to be looking at now. So what does Christianity teach about the roles of men and women? Catholics, Protestants, and all other Christians believe that each gender is holy and sacred, but they do differ on opinion of what each gender should do to live the perfect Christian life. Who will look after the children? Now, as we know, guys, children are the most important thing in Christianity. They need to have a stable upbringing in order for them to become happy adults. So what do you think the Bible teaches? Now you've got two different challenges here. Medium, read the quotes and explain their meaning in your own words. Or higher, read the quotes and then explain how they can be interpreted to agree and disagree with equality. You'll be analysing each quote. Stretch and challenge, which quote do you think is most significant for our understanding of male and female roles? Let's crack on. So here are the different quotes. So if you'd like to pause me now, choose your task, and then we'll go through the answers. Okay, so let's feed back. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. From Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 27. Now, of course, guys, remember, Genesis is the first chapter of the Bible. It's about the creation story. And this basically teaches that men and women are equal as they were both created in the image of God. Now, when we're saying in the image of God, again, God is not a human being. Remember that, guys. God is an energy. And, you know, lots of different religions, they all believe in God. Lots of different spiritualities believe in a God. Sometimes they'll call it the universe. Sometimes they'll call it Allah or Yahweh, whatever name you want to call it. But we can all agree from whatever religious, spiritual standpoint you are from, God is not a person, because that just doesn't make sense, does it? People die and God is everlasting. So when we're saying that male and female were created in the image of God, we're not necessarily saying, no, he's a human being. We're kind of thinking about maybe the spiritual connection, intellectual connection, the soul. So both men and women were created, not just men, not just women. So therefore, they are equal. They were created at the same time and both given authority to rule over the rest of creation. Number 2, the man said, the woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it. Genesis chapter 3, verse 12 to 16. Now, guys, this is referring to the story of the original sin, also known as the fall. When Eve was tempted by the devil, she disobeyed God's command of not eating from the tree of knowledge, and she did. She ate it and she gave it to him. Now, this story is so significant for the way that women have been treated throughout history. This has really been the case of women brought evil into the world. Eve brought evil into the world. So therefore, this can be seen to argue that women are inferior to men. So let's read what it says here. The woman is responsible for corrupting man, because she gave him the apple, and the fall from grace, the original sin, disobeying God. Women are therefore not as respected within the church, and they are not given the roles of responsibility. You know, they're easily led astray by the devil, essentially. Yes, that'll be inequality. Okay, guys, point number 3. Honour your father and mother so that you may live long in the land of the Lord your God is giving you. Exodus. Now, I can't remember if you remember, guys, Exodus is the story of Moses when he led the Jews out of Egyptian slavery. And God gave Moses the first 10 commandments, the 10 rules to live a good life. Because, of course, this was the beginning of knowing how God wants you to live your life, and therefore you can be spiritually fulfilled. That's what they would argue. So, of course, one of the rules is to honour your mother and father. Therefore, this is promoting equality. So men and women, again, are given equal worth, you know, as commanded by Moses, who was inspired and instructed by God, as they are both to be honoured and respected, at least according to the 10 Commandments. Next. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. So it's on, Ephesians, terrible with a lisp, chapter 5, verse 22 to 33. Now, guys, don't get too upset about or stressed about remembering the actual specific numbers of the chapters and the verses. You do not need that. Just saying Ephesians or Genesis, or that is just enough. So don't stress yourself out by doing that. Okay, guys, this is seen as men and women are equal, but they have different roles because they are different. Some think that husbands have the responsibility to love and protect the family, because men stereotypically are stronger, and as I said, they do not give birth, so they can be out in the fields and doing, going and hunting and doing whatever they need to do to protect the family. Whereas women, we need to see if we get pregnant, and of course we're going back 2,000 years ago at least, ever since from the Old Testament, probably 4,000 years ago, there was no such thing as contraception, no such thing as the pill. So each time a husband and wife had sex, they needed to be open to the possibility that she was going to be pregnant. So women were basically pregnant for most of their lives, and giving birth for most of their lives. Unless of course they're infertile. So women really did need to be protected. So women have a responsibility to love and submit, so they accept the authority and respect their husbands, because they are the ones protecting them. Now this is the kind of the Jewish standpoint. Remember this, guys, because of course Christianity is derived from Judaism. So some liberal Christians disagree that the husband is the head of the wife. So these may be some people who are really kind of looking more towards the New Testament rather than the Old Testament. And again, you can use that for your evaluation, because the Old Testament was written, for Judaism. It is the book of the Torah. Living a different life. And of course, Jesus was very much a Jew, but said, there's some bits of the Torah that, we don't really agree with. So instead, we need to become more adapting and more loving and, less prescriptive. So again, you can maybe have that debate in your evaluation as to why it is a weak or a strong answer. Okay, next one. The Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of man. So this shows inequality. Reason being, guys, women are not equal to men, as they're only there to help the man. Women are also made from men and therefore should be grateful for man. However, it can be interpreted that women are necessary to the survival of mankind. Without her, men would be lost. So again, you've got the inequality and the equality having that debate. Okay, we're now going to look at divergent Christian teachings. So, not all Christians believe in this. Some Christians have very different viewpoints because they are reading other parts of the Bible, debating them. What does this mean? Is it moral? Is it ethical? Is this good? Is this right? So, guys, you need to read each statement from each different church and explain what you think of this. How far do you think this will encourage equality between sexes? So does this encourage equality, or does this encourage separate, and then from that inferior, superior understanding of gender? Because that's what inequality is, believing, we're talking about sexism really, believing that one gender is superior to another, a bit like racism, believing that one race and ethnicity is superior to another. Okay, so which church is this? The church has the duty to contribute to the recognition and liberation of women. Liberation means freedom. Following the example of Jesus. Why? Because Jesus always spent time with women, and that was really profound, because women were really second-class citizens back then, and Jesus really did welcome women into his teachings, which previously didn't really happen. So both women are the image of the Creator. So this is the Catholic Church. Catholic Church. Do you think this is a good way to promote equality? Next, belief in God as love expressed in relationships. Understanding of humanity is made in God's image and possess equal worth. This is that genders are both loved. This is the Church of England. Okay, gender equality is the core focus of our work. We believe that women and men are equal in the eyes of God. Too often, women's contributions to family life, work, church and politics are ignored or dismissed. Who is it? Mothers Union. Okay, guys, so this is a group of Christianity that we haven't seen before. This is brand new to this lesson. So this is going to be a little golden nugget of information, going for that grade 9, grade 8. Hopefully you're all very, very now comfortable with Church of England and the Catholic Church. You should always be using Church of England and Catholicism within your debate questions, your evaluation questions. But if you really want to now go, stretch and challenge, put in Mothers Union. Okay, there are many circumstances where unequal and inappropriate relationships of domination and subordination, so talking about abuse here, we encourage a better interpretation of love. And within their marriage ceremonies, the word obey has been dropped. So, guys, if you've ever been to a wedding, normally in the wedding ceremony, you say, you know, I promise to love and obey you. Now, they believe that that's a really, really poor use of language, because obey just basically means, you know, you need to follow without question, which is wrong. You know, if you don't want to do something that your husband says, your wife says, you should say so. You know, you should feel safe and empowered to say that within your relationship. If not, then perhaps your relationship isn't very healthy. This is the Methodist Church. And again, guys, going for that grade 8, grade 9, use Methodist Church. Okay, guys, this is like a summary of the key things that you need to know. Now, we have included humanists and atheists here, just in case it does crop up anywhere. Now, they are likely to accept modern attitudes of equality between men and women's roles within the family, mainly being they follow legislation, they follow the law. And the key piece of law here, and I'm reading from the bottom, is the Equality Act of 2010, which makes it unlawful for any employer, and for any person to discriminate on the grounds of gender, of race, of sexuality. Therefore, women can go to work and therefore be seen as equal within the family, and vice versa. Men can stay at home and seen as equal to the woman when it comes to caregiving. Okay, guys, so how do you feel about these two key things? So let's visit the learning milestones. Can you give Christian teachings about equality of men and women in the families? Those are the quotes. And can you explain different or divergent Christian views about roles of men and women in the family? They're the two key things you've got to do for this lesson. And then the big learning objective, now you've done those two things, can you now debate this? To what extent are men and women equal within the family? So stretch and challenge. If you've got some time, answer that question. Do it as D question. Give us some Christian viewpoints. Send it in to me, Miss Blatch. Lovely. Well, guys, I'm now going to crack on with lesson number 8 for you. So I hope you'll have a lovely time learning about equality between men and women within the family. See you soon. Bye.